and you can watch all of the meetings, and I may refer you there if you ask a question that's already been addressed in the past. So, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion.
Steve, second?
Second.
Fred? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. All right, so let's come in hot with the, oh, we have to do the pledge, that's right. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance, guys. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almost forgot. Thank you. All right. So let's start right away with the dam update. If you have been paying attention to all of the emails Friday and today, and maybe some social media posts, you'll see that there's been a lot of action, which we're really excited to share with you guys tonight. I am going to pull up a PowerPoint. Hopefully you can see it, because we want to share with you some pictures of what's going on. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, can you guys just see the screen, or do you see my presenter view? Just the screen, beautiful, okay. So this is a picture of our lake from a few months back, and we have been talking about how we have had to redesign and construct a new concept for the fusegate tow abutment. And if you don't know what that is, please go to meetings from the last 2 months and you can get caught up really quick. So I'm going to start from kind of where we are at the moment, and I want to get you oriented to what we're looking at. So hang on just a moment. All right. So right now, this is the top of our dam. So we've talked in the past about the fuse gates. So those are the fuse gates that go across. You'll see the straight edge that comes down, a straight piece here, a short straight piece here, and then it slants down. Okay. So this is where all of the work is to be done. And this is a drawing of that plan. So I want to kind of orient you with this so that you understand what the steps are as we go forward. So if you're looking at this, this is your straight fuse gate down, right here.
Hey,
Okay.
Erica, if are you trying to just point to things with your mouse? If you are, we can't see your mouse at all.
Oh, you cannot see my mouse at all. Okay.
Sure.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna do it like this. Can you see me now?
I can, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So see this straightaway right here, followed by a short ledge and almost like a ramp down. Okay. So to orient you to the plan here, there's your straight edge of the fuse gate, your short ledge, and your ramp down. Okay. So what they will be doing when we've talked about anchor bolts, which if you read your email on Friday, you should know that was the most recent delay and the thing that we were anticipating with bated breath here. They are bolts that go down into the spillway of the dam. They hold down a bracket that is right here. You'll see some formwork, which is wood right here. And then this entire thing will be encased in concrete. Okay? So that's the plan that we were talking about. This isn't a huge piece of construction. Again, if you look, all of it's taking place right in this little section right here. Okay? So as we go forward, let's chat about remaining steps. So this is the email that went out on Friday talking about kind of the timeline and what the things are that we still have to complete. So we have to install the grout pad under the brackets, which began today. Install the bracket anchor bolts, which again were those things that kind of were drilled down into the dam. Install steel reinforcing and formwork. So that's the thing that surrounds those anchor bolts that I just showed you. They expect that piece to take place 5 days, and both of those things will be done in tandem. And you'll see some pictures of where that began today as well. Concrete has to be poured around the area, and then the concrete has to cure to the required strength, which we expect to happen within 7 days of the concrete pour. And then the DEC will give us their approval to close the sluice gates, which is when the lake begins to refill. So Walter and I were out on site this morning and we had a conversation with the contractor who told us they would like to be pouring concrete as soon as now this coming Wednesday. And what they're going to do is they're going to do early breaks of the concrete, which means the concrete curing time, which we're talking about being 7 days, they are going to do it prior to 7 days. And if we are at strength, then we don't have to wait the full 7 days. So to expedite the final approval from the DEC to begin refilling, the DPW got an agreement to perform a conditional walk down based on the current progress to save time upon final inspection. This means that upon the concrete curing, it'll be just a matter of days before we receive the final approval to close the sluice gates and begin refill. Seeing something in the checkbox here. Okay. So the contractor did tell us informally this morning that the DEC is expected to be on site on the 24th for a walkthrough. So they're expecting to pour concrete by Wednesday, and then the DEC would look to come the following Wednesday. So that's kind of the informal update we got from the contractor on site as of this morning. Just to show you guys a few pictures, residents have asked how the weather would be considered. This is the answer. So this is a one piece of heating equipment that's on site today to keep the concrete and the grout pads at temperature as we go forward. So that all arrived yesterday. Here are some of the workers staging yesterday as equipment was being delivered. So the anchor bolts were delivered Monday as planned. And then all of these items were delivered to the site. So they have everything on site now to complete the project. This is a photo as of noontime today. So you can see some of the formwork being set. Half of the anchor bolts are inserted, but not torqued yet. So those anchor bolt holes were actually drilled weeks ago, and placeholders were put in the holes that were drilled. And so it was a matter of setting the anchor bolts in today, but they're not torqued. So one plate is set as of noontime, and the lines for the heaters were running to maintain a temperature greater than 45 degrees overnight. So the other thing that we have to do prior to refill is we have to test the sluice gates to make sure that they open and close as necessary. And the sluice gates are responsible for basically plugging the lake or allowing the water to pass through. So if you're looking at our dam, you can see that there's one right here and one over here. And you can see that there's a line that runs up the tower. So here's a closer look at one of the sluice gates, what they look like. Right now they're open and the water is running through them. And this is the thing that we desperately want to get closed so that we can capture the inflow of water that we're experiencing right now. So here's the other one. And we are requesting, we will be requesting that the DEC kind of clean out or in and around these prior to refill beginning so that we don't have any issues with these becoming clogged as we proceed. So if you remember in the last slide here, that the tower goes up. At the top of that tower, you'll see this. This is the electrical has been run to this, and this is how the sluice gates are operated, either manually or electrically, and they are currently being tested. So to talk a little bit about what the refill plan actually entails. So originally, they were going to fill up to this 315 point, the 321 point here. And they were going to mandate that we cap it at 6 inches per day. So we had a discussion with the DEC and the DPW, And we established an agreement to waive the 6 inches per day limit and allow unrestricted refill up to the first hold point of 19 feet. So that's what you see here. Okay. And the goal of that would be to capture the April inflow rates. And what we would like to do is have, so it's going to fill up, I'm sorry, it's going to fill up to 321, and then it will be held for 3 weeks. Okay, and then the dam will be inspected. And then again, it will be held to, allowed to fill to 330, and then be held for another 3 weeks. So we are asking for the hold at 321, that 3-week hold, to be reevaluated right now. We will update you with that information as we get it. So this is what I want to leave you with. This is a picture of the most recent picture of the dam tonight. This is what it looks like right now. You can see the heating blankets over the pieces that they're working on. And we expect more manpower tomorrow morning to be able to expedite the work and get it done as quickly as possible. So expect to see more happening there tomorrow. And the dam, the board will provide frequent updates on what's going on at the dam so folks can get a step-by-step sense of how close we are to completion and what's being done each day. So what questions do you have? You can pop them in the chat box about anything that I just shared or any of the emails. Surprisingly, I did not get any dam specific questions via email. So I'm hoping that folks are understanding it as the updates are sent out. All right, I see no questions in the chat box. I'm shocked. That's wonderful. Okay. So, oh, I lied. When do you think I can put my pontoon boat in the water? Good question. What is the estimated time to get to the first holding? Downstream of the lake will be completely dry until the lake is full. Okay, here we go. Lots of debris by the sluice gates. Is it a problem? There's debris by the sluice gates. That's why we're asking that it be cleared out prior. We're also working with the county to contract divers in case it becomes an issue in the future, and that area has to be cleaned out at all. When do you think I can put my pontoon boat in the water, right? That's the question. So the board has been putting as much pressure as we can on all parties involved to capture the inflow of March and April, as we know that it drops off pretty quickly after that. And as we see the dam progress going so much faster this week, we're really encouraged that it'll be sooner than later. It's going to depend largely on precipitation, and we're looking at May is what my understanding is. Walter, would you have anything to add to that?
So as I figure out to get off of mute. Now I agree with everything you said, Eric. It's to a certain degree somewhat unpredictable. It's going to be based on the amount of inflows you have coming in, when the work is actually finished, how quickly they can expedite to allow the refill to start. So the inflows in March and April, like Erica had said, are substantially higher than when you get to June and July. So our goal is we don't want to be talking about June and July as requiring those inflows as part of the fill project. So the goal is to, as we said before, to target to be filled in up. You should not notice any, we should be filled as far as we need to go by May, up to the second hold point, which is 6 inches from the top of the runoff. And then you'll have another 3 week holdover period. But at that point, it should be good.
Okay. See, how come the anchor bolts are not centered on the 4 individual fuse gates? Wouldn't that create twisting torque when the gates open and close? Huh. The design has been completed and approved by the project engineer. And I think that I also took some of the photos from the side, so it may just be perception.
Let me add a little bit to that, Erica, too.
Yes.
The fuse gates are not designed to be open and closed. It's kind of like an airbag in your car and something you never ever want to use. It's more designed for a 100-year flood. So if those fuse gates ever open, it means that the water has reached crescent levels above the 100-year flood level. And those sluice gates are actually, you can't reclaim them. Basically, they get washed down over the dam.
The
So
fuse.
they're not designed to be open and closed.
Will there be an area for residents to walk around the finished dam to view when we are all finished with this? So we will get to that in a few moments. It is not the safest place to be, but it is a beautiful place to be. Are the environmental issues that we are going to be looked at the fill sites ready? I don't think I understand. Are the environmental issues that we're going to be looked at the fill sites ready? Not sure I understand your question, Donna. If you wanna, if it's easier to unmute and ask it out loud, you can. Okay. We'll connect, I guess, after Donna and I'll understand your question a little better and be able to answer it. Is fish restocking still going to happen? Absolutely. Weren't we going to have testing where the water comes in? Oh, yes, into the tributaries. We're going to get to the Lake Health Committee update in a little while. Okay, is fish stocking still going to rehappen? Yes, fish stocking is still going to rehappen, or restocking is still going to happen. We got information. Actually, it was encouraging that we got some information on that we can restock earlier than we expected to be able to. So that was good information. Okay, any other specific questions about the dam project? Has there been any talk on there being a park near the dam? No. We don't really want people playing over near the dam. Do residents need permit stickers for kayaks? Yes, please visit the website for more information on that. Any more dam specific questions? Once. Going twice. Okay. Alrighty. And again, we'll have more opportunities at the end to ask some questions. Do any of the board members have anything to add?
You did a good job covering it, Erica.
Agreed.
Okay. If anything needs, if you come up with questions later and you want answers to them, you're probably not the only one with the questions. So please email it to BDL board. And as we update folks more frequently over the next couple of weeks or so, as we conclude this thing, I'll address the questions via email also. Okay. Lake Health Committee. So someone asked a question about Lake Health Committee. So right now, the Lake Health Committee met, and there is a great recording of that most recent Lake Health Committee meeting on the YouTube channel. Check it out if you haven't. It talks about the vegetation, and we do have updates, and we provided them at the last board meeting. Walter did a great job of outlining what happened at the Lake Health Committee meeting. We also met with Northeast Aquatic, who was the company responsible for doing our vegetation report, and got a plethora of new information from them. So check out the Lake Health Committee meeting and the most recent board meeting for information on that to catch yourself up. Right now, all hands on deck for the dam project for the next couple of weeks. So we don't expect to have another committee meeting about Lake Health until April. But we do have some action items moving forward there as well. Any additions to that?
Just a thank you to Tom Corral for the background. He's part of Lake Health Committee, Tom Corral. He's been doing a great job. Part of our short-term actions were to do some benchmarking and reach out to the local areas to see who's successful at trying to do what we're trying to work towards. So you came back with some preliminary information for us. So thank you, Tom, if you're on the call, thank you.
I see a question that there's 2 blinking lights now at the dam. One is a lighthouse. What is the other? I don't know. I'm not sure those are actually on the dam site. And next item in the agenda is volunteers for lake support. So if you're interested in doing some work on lake health, please email bdlboard@gmail.com and let us know. We'll get you on that list. Also, if you are a lakefront property owner, you can clear the weeds in front of your house manually. You cannot put a gasoline motor into the lake bed. That being said, we talked to Northeast Aquatics a little bit, and particularly the cattails. If they are more than 2 feet out, you can cut them down and they will not grow back because they don't do well in depths greater than 1.5 feet, 2 feet. So if you have them, cut them down. You can weed in front of your property if you wanted to do that also. And after the lake refill, we may have some of the vegetation. It's not the expectation that it'll be a ton, but we may have some vegetation that floats. And if that does happen, that's actually really helpful. We can skim it off the top. So we will be looking for folks to volunteer and do some of that stuff. So please, if you're interested, shoot us an email and let us know. Walter, do you have anything to add specific to that?
Basically, I think we all have exactly the same questions. We're all coming about it from the same point of view. We want our lake back. We want the water quality where it needs to be. Keep in mind, it takes everybody that lives in the area to be part of that solution, like we talked about before. We relied heavily on Northeast Aquatics from their background and professionalism to tell us basically what should we expect with the vegetation. Like Eric had said, if you're a lakefront property owner, they did encourage you to remove as much as you can in front of your house. That's what they would do if they lived in that location. The weeds the vegetation can do one of 3 things. One is it's just going to, there's 2 types of weeds. You have the aquatic and you have the terrestrial. Terrestrial weeds will just be choked out immediately when they get covered by water. The aquatic weeds, if they survive, like Eric had said for the cattails, they'll survive in about 1.5 feet of water. So anything greater than that, they'll eventually be choked out, but they are beneficial to lakes as well. But anyway, what can happen with the weeds is one of 3 things. One, it can rot in place and basically just go back into the soil. Second is it'll decay, break off, and float to the surface, at which point we're going to be looking for volunteers to help skim to get them out of the area. And the third is they will break off and go just sink to the bottom and be moved around with the currents. So again, it's just the big major message behind that is it will take some effort on everybody that lives in the community to help clean up the lake once the vegetation, if it does start breaking loose. That's it.
Okay. Again, if you want more specific information, and there is a lot of specific information available already on the YouTube channel. I've removed 20 feet deep of weeds already. Should I remove another 20 feet? Probably not necessary. But thank you for your question. The message that I took away from the Northeast Aquatic meeting was that the lake health is actually better off with the vegetation than it would have been without it because of how the nutrients would release from the sediment versus how they will release from the plants. So I know that was a kind of an unpopular sentiment when we shared it. But again, please go check out the report that's available on the Orange County website. It really explains it. And then if you want it laid out more in layman's terms, a little less jargon, you can watch the Lake Health Committee meeting. Walter lays it out really nicely with some imagery there too. Anything else on that? Okay. Next item on the agenda for the board is the signage. So we received from the DPW some information on some signage that's required to be placed at the dam site. 3 things that are kind of built to the capital project that are mandatory are the gauge signs, which we actually, they're essentially giant rulers that go along the side of our dam so we can know what level the water is at any point. So those will be put in, and the other two line items are mounting hardware and labor to install that signage. So that's kind of mandatory, and that's moving forward. The other signs though at the dam, so I did email you in advance, the budget put forth and the signage proposal put forth. Were there any comments from the board on things that you feel should be excluded from what they put forth? These are signs dealing with no trespassing, no jumping, no swimming, no wading by the dam area, and no trespassing signs by the side of the driveway. And there's a couple of properties that are adjacent to the dam that we would advise people to stay off of as well.
Yeah, there's no specific comment, Erica, but basically the way I understood it is that it was framed to us that there are some signs that are not optional, they're going to be put in. And then there was other signs being proposed to us that if we wanted to do the additionals, we could. And the signage also includes the demarcations for the depth of the lake that'll be utilized for actually for the refill of the dam. That'll be part of the signage.
Right, so the gauging signs are already printed and ready to be put into place. But this is more the no trespassing signs and the signs that are more part of the O&M discussion. So if we want to, I can table that. It looks like 2 signs that advise upstream, 2 signs to be placed upstream that advise no boating, swimming, and wading, 2 signs to be put downstream, 12 no trespassing signs in various locations around the site, by the side of the driveway, at nearby properties, and along the spillway, telling folks to stay off. Reserve signage as you go into the driveway, and then 4 no jumping signs. So take a look at those. If I don't hear any opposition to those things by the board in the next few days, we can move forward with the signage as put forth. Does that work for everyone?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I believe signage.
Yeah, I'm good.
Signage is definitely important, obviously, on just in all sorts of levels. I don't want to obviously look like we have 80,000 signs around, but I think what's being proposed is pretty accurate, from what I can tell.
Okay. Erica, when they were mentioned at the driveway, what are they referring to by the driveway?
The driveway, the entrance way that's right now blocked off by like the cable and the cones.
The entrance to the dam area?
Yes, the entrance to
Okay.
the dam
Okay.
area.
I understand.
The drive-in entrance.
Okay, thank you.
Too bad the dam area is not a park. It's not going to be the safest area to be in. We don't really want people climbing on the dam. Permits for the summer hanging tags. Yes, I see you, Fred. No motors or gas-powered engines. No motors or gas-powered engines. You can have electric engines. All the boats that you see on Beaver Dam Lake are electric motors.
Do we have signage that represents that or no?
Yes. Okay. So any other questions about the signage?
Eric, will the signage include the fact that the access to the lake is restricted to Beaver Dam Lake residents only?
You can go back and take a look at the specific signage. I think that there's no trespassing signs for everybody over on that particular site. The signage at every reserve that currently exists does state that, but we actually had Tom Corll, a resident, write in a question about doing something with this additionally, so we can talk more about it in the resident forum if there's additional no trespassing signage that we want.
Okay. And is there going to be a signage, do you know, down on the buoys, the exclusion zone down by the dam on the water itself?
Hang on, I can show you. I can pull it up if that's useful to you. In just a minute. Well, I think it's going to be hard to see, but I'll pull it up.
For the residents, in the past, there used to be able to unexcluded access down to the dam area, to the spillway. With the new structure now, they're actually going to put buoys out there to keep you a certain number of feet away from the spill area.
Here are the buoy anchors,
Okay,
and here's the signage
I see. Okay,
being proposed.
okay. I guess what I was asking, if you're coming across the lake up to the buoys, will there be any signage there? It's going to be obvious to not cross that line.
See the buoy anchors. I don't see any signage specifically on the buoys. It's a good question.
Yeah, if we
There's
could
your
just ask,
gauges.
if we could just ask the DPW that.
Here are some of the photos of the signs themselves. And there's your gauge. Okay. So no, I don't see anything that would be specific to being on the buoys, but I can ask that question.
There is writing on the buoys already, though.
There's writing directly on the buoys. Okay.
Yeah, I think it says warning dam or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further about the signage requested? Okay. I'm going to add something real quick to the agenda. So the Easter Bunny will be making rounds in Beaver Dam again this year for the kids, April 27th. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Boyle and Chris Voll, who always lead up this charge. So stay tuned for more information. We'll send it out via email and share it on social media. So the Easter Bunny will be riding around Beaver Dam again on April 27th. And we'll likely provide the map and all the good same stuff that we did last year, and maybe have some additional surprises for the kiddos. So if you want to volunteer with the Easter event, yes, I'm sorry, March 27th. God, not enough coffee today. Okay, March 27th. My apologies. The Easter Bunny will be riding around. If you want to volunteer and help with egg stuffing, or you want to contribute candy or eggs for the kiddos, shoot me an email, let me know, and we will link up to do that. So more to come on the Beaver Dam Easter Bunny. All right, I was hoping not to have this conversation, but I think it's necessary at this point. Receiving emails about the dam updates and about the meetings and the lake refill and the community events is a courtesy. So being on the email list is a way that I really like communicating with everybody that lives here on the lake. The board really appreciates your questions, your comments, your positive feedback, your constructive feedback. I believe at this point, we've all been really open to hearing suggestions and ideas. Everybody at this meeting and everybody via email has been treated respectfully. That being said, if residents do feel compelled to email us, cursing me out, cursing another board member out, threatening any of us, or sending us inappropriate photographs, they will be removed and blocked immediately. So short and sweet. If you act like a child, you're going to lose privileges. Okay, that being said, moving on to the residents forum. Are there any board member comments that haven't been made thus far? Fred, I saw your comment about the permits, and yes, we need to address what we're going to do with parking permits and lake permits. So we'll have that conversation and be ready with it next month.
Yeah. Erica is part of that in some of the reserves. That actually, I did a walk down the other day, and it looks like there are some actual boats that have been abandoned in the reserves for a couple years, probably. They actually have holes in them. They're not even seaworthy. That we have to come up with a plan of what we're going to do for those boats that may not even belong to any residents that live here, and make sure that every boat that is on there that actually does have a permit on it.
Okay, Fred, I see you raising your hand. Go for it.
Yeah, we addressed this a while ago, and the bottom line is any boat that does not have a permit on it should be removed, and because it shouldn't be there in the first place. So I think, in fact, I think a letter went out to the residents a year or so ago to warn them that this was going to happen. And to address what Wally had said, so any boat that does not have a permit on it should not be in one of the reserves, and I think the residents should be notified that they will be removed.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we have to figure out, I think, a procedure for removal and how that's going to work.
Yeah, a lot of them are actually flipped. They're not upside down. They're flipped upright, and they're just filled with water. If you're a neighbor living right next to it, there could become a mosquito haven coming up in the summer months too.
Okay. How do you get a boat permit? So you can go to the Orange County Beaver Dam Lake website, and you'll see it there, along with all the info. Okay. All right. So as a board, we have to have that conversation about how we're going to move forward with removal of boats and notifying residents. But yes, as we refill the lake, we certainly want our reserves to be cleared of all the debris, and that includes the abandoned boats. All right. Any other board member concerns?
Erica, have we now officially made the statement that the Reserve 4 will be open? And it still seems like, to me anyway, it's a little bit up in the air. What has been the final decision on this?
You mean the cable going across? So what we have been doing currently is that it's been going up at night and coming down in the morning, so that you cannot drive into Reserve 4 at night. And that was unfortunately after we had, some mischief happen, a few mischief incidents happen at Reserve 4.
Have we made arrangements with the neighbor to take care of the weekend aspect in times that Tom is not available?
Yes, to my knowledge, he is doing that. But if you've noticed anything different, please let me know. Okay. All right. Any other board member comments?
Yeah, just one other one, just to paint a picture for everybody also, that what you don't see is the behind the scenes part that's going on. And right now, once a week on every Friday, since the start of January, we're holding a 1 hour meeting with the DPW, including the commissioner of the DPW, his lead engineer, and the deputy commissioner. And through that, what we do is every week we look at the schedule, we challenge the schedule, we look at, does it make sense? Are there things that could be worked in series versus parallel, or parallel versus series? Or if you say you have the materials, did you actually physically count the materials? Does it really take 2 weeks? Is there a way you could do this in 1 week? We're challenging everything possible that we can just to make sure we could hold the schedule. So there's probably, what, I don't know, Erica, what do you say, 20, 30 hours going in behind the scenes just to try to keep things moving?
Easily.
Yeah.
And a shout out to Walter, who is on site every day, providing eyes on the scene updates consistently. In addition to that, at this point, we have a relationship with contractor, with GZI, and we talk consistently with the DPW, and when necessary, local political officials that can help us push this effort forward. And we laid out some of those efforts in the email that was sent Friday also. So if you have questions about where pressure's been applied, and how we've gone about it, a lot of those answers are in the Friday's email. So we hear you. We hear your frustration. We're frustrated too. But now it looks like the finish line is in sight. 5 more steps and everything's there. I've never been so happy to see a delivery as anchor bolts in my entire life. All right. So if there's nothing further there, we can move on to the residence forum, and I'm going to open with the email that we got from Mr. Tom Corral. And he says, for many years, 2 posts and a cable with construction cones in between the posts were used for the dam site. Although this was not a pleasant site for the entrance into Beaver Dam Lake, it was somehow understandable because the dam was to be reconstructed. It is my hope that after spending $5 million on the project, that we might be able to put a small amount towards a suitable gate that adds to the community. I have always thought a sign indicating the entrance into Beaver Dam Lake would be great to have at the entrance. Naturally, the sign would also be required indicating the restrictions. So as we develop the budget going into next year, as we start thinking about things that we want to do around that site, board members, do you have thoughts?
No, I personally think it's a fantastic idea. I mean, obviously, anything we can do to beautify the area and indicate that we are a private lake, I'm all for it.
So like a welcome to Beaver Dam Lake and indicating that it's a private lake community?
I guess, I think you referred to as restrictions, I guess, yeah. So whatever verbiage that is, I'm not sure at the moment, but definitely, and I think we have 3 entrances, I believe, right? We have shore, we have lake, and we have lake or Jack by Jackson. I guess it would be 3 locations at very least.
So you're talking about signs as you come into the neighborhood. Tom, were you talking about specifically over by the dam?
Oh, yes, I'm sure he was.
Yeah, that was my idea, that that's, one of the first areas that people, come into contact with the district. You could possibly even do that on the other entrances as well, just so people know that, oh, by the way, you're entering a special spot, and it also puts the idea in their mind that there may be specific restrictions that they have to follow as well.
Correct, and maybe those conversations of non-permits and things of that nature are a little easier to have. You can't miss signage, right? Signage is signage. At least you hope you can't miss it. So yeah, I mean, obviously by the dam entrance, I totally agree with. But obviously, shore by Cumberland is a huge spot, and I mean, we have a lot of development that's, I think, outside our district right now. So obviously that's a lot on the Jackson portion of it. So.
Okay. So now I'm hearing we're talking about a gate by Reserve 8 and some kind of welcome to Beaver Dam signage at the 3 main entrances. I'll say where we usually put like the sandwich boards to announce meetings and things like that. Okay. Any other thoughts on that from the board members? If that's something that we should price out, look into.
I love that idea. I think that having a sign would be excellent.
You're breaking up quite a bit, Colette.
Oh, can you hear me?
A little bit. I heard we love that idea.
I love it. Yeah. That's
Any other thoughts on that?
I really couldn't understand her.
Couldn't
I
hear.
think she was just saying that she liked the idea a lot. Colette, is that the gist of what you were saying? Okay,
exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Okay.
Fred, Wally, Kevin, any thoughts about a gate to close off the dam site, an attractive gate to close off the dam site, and 3 signs
Well, since the dam site is not open for anybody, really, I don't see any problem with that as long as it's not going to be an issue with the town. that something like that has to get their permission to do it.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea, and actually, we just point out, Fred is also correct. It's actually owned by Orange County. They're the ones that have the liability with the dam, and they should actually support and potentially even fund the placage of a gate down at the dam.
Right.
The other thought I had is Tom Corral. A little bit I've known him. He's never come up with a bad idea yet, so I know we definitely should be looking at it.
You're too generous. That way back when, the thought was also that it might not hurt to have the fire department have a key to that gate as well, in case there is a requirement to quickly get over there and
Yep, excellent idea.
open the gates. Or yeah, I'm talking about the sluice gates, in case there's a emergency there, to go ahead and dump some water. So I think that'd be a good idea to keep them in the loop as well.
Yeah, it's a great comment, Tom. Also, the DPW, they actually have emergency procedures related to if you ever got into emergency procedures associated with high levels or the 100-year flood scenario.
Yep.
And that actually includes who are all the rescue personnel that need to be involved, make sure they have access to all the areas.
Yep.
So we plan on going over that in great detail with the DPW coming up shortly.
Good.
I do see that there's some suggestions of verbiage for those signage, welcome signs at the entrance, but I think the point was we create the welcome signs with like saying it's a private community. So I think somehow we work on the verbiage of how that's done. So why doesn't the board, I'd say, I hesitate to commit any more time to anything until this dam is done, if I'm just honest out loud right now. So let's see about delegating somebody to look into, number one, who would fund the gate, and looking into some signage that we might put at the 3 other entrances, and we can either revisit it next month or more realistically, probably the following month. Okay. Awesome. Great. Are there any other resident questions or concerns? And if you think of them later, you can certainly send them to us via email, and we can answer them that way as well. And if there are questions about the dam, we can answer them as we update the whole community more frequently going forward.
You might want to give a one-liner, Erica, about your keen optimism about requesting the DPW for the funding for the lifeguards for the beach.
Oh, yeah. So we are looking to have our beach open for the summer. So right now, with the schedule the way it is, we are anticipating to be able to do that. And we are working to contract an agency to manage the beach here so that we can have reliable lifeguards and open the beach up, get some sand in here again. So we're being very optimistic going forward. Right now, that is still our expectation. Okay. Is there registration on the boats at the reserves? That would be a way to see who owns them. Yes, so we've had to do that in the past too. We've had to contact some boat owners about different issues. So if their boats down at the reserves are registered, we will certainly contact those residents to have them moved. But I think the conversation was about the boats that have been abandoned that do not have stickers on them and should not be there. So yeah, we're not gonna just start getting rid of boats randomly.
Yeah, well, there's 2 concerns. One is that the boats are just abandoned there, that people not even live here anymore. And the other is you might have people that are not residents of Beaver Dam. They stage a boat there and they just drive in and put it on the lake and use it as well. So you want to try to control that.
Any update on water quality? Again, Donna, please check out the last, the Lake Health Committee meeting is on there, but again, it's, you're gonna get a better update from last month's board meeting on the YouTube channel. And if you want more info on it, please email us that you want to be on the Lake Health Committee, and then at least you'll get the email updates associated with that specific topic. Although we do review it at this meeting as well. The committee comes back with the bullet points of that meeting. Unless you just really, really love extra meetings every month. Give it a couple seconds for any additional questions in the chat.
Has there been any update regarding the additional sampling of the deep area for the phosphate concentration?
Yeah, so we submitted our C-SLAP paperwork and payment for NICE-FOLA this week, and we are signed up to participate in that program going forward.
That's not quite what I meant. We were going to have the testing company do sampling in the deep area, and the DPW was going, or county, somebody was going to work on authorizing that sampling to be done. Where do we stand on that before we start putting water in the lake? Or maybe I'm mistaken. Yep, I'm just remembering now. That was going to be done after the lake is filled.
That's
My
correct.
apologies.
You got up with it.
There you go, Beth.
That's okay. This nitty gritty stuff that we talk about, right? All right,
Motion to adjourn.
I hear a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Fred seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Beautiful. Okay, expect more updates via email from us, guys, and I'm not sorry about the noise of the damn site. Hope you hear it loud for the next 2 weeks.
Officially, Wally, Erica, everybody, thank you for all your
Yes,
efforts.
absolutely.
Thanks so much,
Yes,
guys.
thank you.
Without your work, we wouldn't be where we are.
We'll get there, guys.
Excellent work.
Have a great night.
Yeah.